Hey, folks, and welcome to Traveler Tuesday, where it is the countdown to May Day, the celebration of Traveler that occurs on May 1st every year. Today, we have a Kickstarter preview for a new item that is going live on Kickstarter today called Scoundrels of Brixton. So, I will include, as soon as a link is available, I will put that link in the video description. So, you may want to check back or check on Kickstarter itself. It is scheduled to go live today, the day that this video releases, but I don't have the link as of today, the day this video is recorded. So if you find this of interest, then you may want to check this out. We're going to have a brief flip through this 44 page PDF. And we see the setting is designed by Jeffrey Jones, writer, developer Adam Kovac, and artist Thata Hora. It's a very nicely laid out book. I believe this is intended to be a digest-sized book in a printed edition. Again, check out the Kickstarter for the rewards for the various options that are available on that, on which I have no information. In the meantime, we're going to take a look at the product itself. So this is sort of it's predicted to be part of an ongoing periodical series, and this is issue 1, therefore, which kind of lays out some of the basic bones of this sci-fi setting, circulating mostly about a single system, which is the Brixton system in this case. That is kind of placed inside a larger context, but there's a lot of stuff here that you could just pull out and drop right into your own Traveler universe, including the entire Brixton system or individual criminal organizations, which we'll see a bunch of, individual characters, which we'll see a bunch of. But the book does spend some time sort of establishing the broader context of this setting. So let's take a gander here. I will note also that this is the second recording of this video, the first of which was recorded with no audio, so we had to redo it again. So I have looked through this before, although I have not given it a thorough read. We have a table of contents here. There are 7 sections. So we get the bricks, and I'll briefly kind of outline this. This kind of narrows its way down from the sort of subsector, which is not a standard full-size subsector. It's like half a subsector that this takes place in, going down from there into the Brixton system. Brixton proper is a Class M red dwarf with, I think, 7 or 8 planets. Then to the world of Deluvia, and then zooming down to its final level, which is Sky City, which is a higher tech enclave than the rest of the system. That is a floating grav city flying above Deluvia, the planet. And then there's some sections on missions, and then there's a little 2 or 3 page section on the annexation war, which is again additional context for this broader setting. But we'll see it as we get to it. So the first thing we'll see here is a brief timeline, very skeletal timeline, which in the context of what kind of product this is, I think this kind of timeline makes a lot of sense. You get some contextualizing information if you want to use the whole setting, but you don't waste excessive page count on details of the setting outside the topic of this product, which is the Brixton system itself, and specifically that planet of Deluvia. But we get, like I said, about half a subsector here of additional information, not a standard traveler size subsector, but who cares? You can drop this in. And by the way, this is logoed for as compatible with Cepheus engine, but that means that any version of Traveler that is basically using the Traveler system as opposed to the GURP system or the Twilight 2000 system or whatever, there's very high degree of cross compatibility between those systems. So you should have 0 issues moving this over to either edition of Mongoose Traveler, to Classic Traveler, to Mega Traveler, or to Traveler 4 or 5. So whatever version of Traveler you're using, and I am aware of very few people that are using one of the like non-Traveler systems to run Traveler. So it doesn't mean it's not happening. That's anecdotal, but and you could certainly make that conversion too. It's not like it's very difficult. Traveler's generally a fairly easy system to convert from, as long as you're not looking for like incredible fidelity to technological standards or something like that. As long as you're willing to be a little loosey goosey with it, you're not going to have a problem transporting this to whatever game system you're using, whether that's Traveler or Star Frontiers or whatever. So here's the Brixton system, and it doesn't look like this in the PDF, but I'm kind of hoping that this is a like a 2-page spread of the system here. I think that will look really cool in the book. You have Brixton, the class M Red Dwarf, Veronica, Unov, Deluvia, Bue, a planetoid belt, Chupuria, and Krathuri, the latter two of which are gas giants with lots of moons. So we get some basic information. You get the UWPs, of course, but then you actually also get the additional information that's associated with that, including the definitions of what those mean in the context. So you don't actually have to look it up if you're not familiar with it already. I'm probably familiar enough with it that I didn't need the help, but it's nice that it's here. And hey, it's again, it's plausible to use this with something other than Traveler as well, in which you would need to look up what the UWP means. That wouldn't mean anything to a Star Frontiers player or a Space D&D player, for example. So we get a section on the history of Brixton, the system. 4 pages of this, so there's not a ton, which again, that's kind of good, because a lot of this history will kind of tie it into the broader setting as well. So although it's not incredibly, it's pretty focused. This little section is pretty focused on the history of the Brixton system itself. Really, only this first section kind of pulls it into the broader setting, and then some more stuff later on with this annexation war business, which we'll get a whole short section on later on. So here's the planet of Deluvia. We get a map of the sort of settled area or part of the settled area of the planet. This is not a map done in the sort of traditional Traveler style where you get like an icosahedral hex grid, which would have been nice, but this is just as good for the purposes of the area in which a player group might be wandering around. You get a list of settlements and brief descriptions of those settlements. A list of the key players here on the planet, which includes a number of different things, including sort of a government agency, a large corporation, looks like a mercenary company, and a financial institution, plus a couple other things. Unobtainium, one of the few Diluvian-owned banking and investment firms. So that's the name of a company and not a material in this context. We have a history of Deluvia, which again is not super duper dense. It's 3 pages. And then we'll see more of these as well. We have some missions. These are sort of the adventure seeds of this product. And as we get into Sky City and its criminal organizations, we'll see that each criminal organization has a suggested mission as well. And these all look pretty interesting. You could easily, if you get nothing else out of this book, you could easily take all these missions, of which there's probably 15 or 20 in the book, and just drop those into whatever Traveler setting you're running. And of course, it's kind of intended to be a wretched hive of scum and villainy, right? So, the missions in general will tilt in that direction. So here is the different like sections of the city: the upper city, the port, the underbelly. We have a sort of section now where we're going to go into these little 1-page sections of different criminal organizations or law enforcement organizations of Sky City. So this one, the Benevolent Hand, for example, is a criminal organization specializing in forgery, fraud, and counterfeiting. And you can see that we get a little mission section on there as well. And on the back page, so the ones on the back page here, these will be NPCs or characters. Really, an NPC in Traveler is just is easily usable as a PC. Let me put it that way. So these will be the 3 characters associated with the Benevolent Hand. We have a police precinct. We have 3 characters associated with that, plus a mission here. The Justified, fraud, drug trafficking, and extortion. We get a mission and some NPCs for them. The Juvians, drug trafficking, bootlegging, and smuggling. Same type of deal. The In and Out Gang, the robbery and infiltration focused group. Again, characters and mission. And then we get another couple of pages, another 4 separate missions for the system itself. We get another section at the end of the book about the annexation war, which is kind of like a big event in the setting's history. I don't want to like give you spoilers, so go read it for yourself. It's not like this thing's ruinously expensive. So, but this is another facet of the larger setting that is then tied into the more specific setting that's provided in this book. And again, you get some NPCs down here. You get an open game license at the very end. And this is a preview of Volume 1 of Scoundrels of Brixton. So hopefully this will be successful. Do check out the Kickstarter if you have found this at all interesting. Again, as soon as one is available, I will put the link in the video description. But it should be going live at roughly the time of the release of this video. So pay attention to that. Hopefully you found this interesting and valuable. If so, please do give it a thumbs up. We will have more Traveler content on the way after something of an absence, shall we say. But May Day's coming up. We got a couple of videos in the can for that special day. So hopefully you have enjoyed this. If so, I appreciate your support. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy gaming.